Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jarvis S. Scott with What's Happening in Birmingham. This afternoon, we have Earl Hilliard Jr. here with us of the Hunt Hilliard Law Firm. How you doing today, Mr. Hilliard? Thanks for taking a few moments out your day to chat with us.
I'm doing fine, Jarvis, and how are you doing today?
Great, 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 great. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Earl Hilliard Jr. I'm an entertainment attorney and a government relations attorney. The firm is the Hunt Hilliard Law Firm, and we do everything from family law to incorporations, nonprofits, 501c3s, and a lot of different things the other attorneys do. But I basically specialize or concentrate in entertainment law and government relations.
So tell me, what do an entertainment lawyer do? We hear that term so much.
Well, there are various kinds of entertainment attorneys. Nowadays, they kind of pull them out, and they have one they call intellectual property rights attorney, which is basically copyrights, trademarks, and patents. When I was in law school, that was my focus, copyrights, trademarks, and patents. But nowadays, when we hear about entertainment attorneys, like myself, I do packaging, which means I put deals together on the entertainment side, but I deal with models, actors, rappers, record labels, gospel artists, writers, authors, a lot of different people. Anything that comes up in the entertainment realm, so performing artists of any kind, and athletes too. Matter of fact, I just started this year doing athletes.
Okay, so let me give you a scenario.
Okay.
Say I just finished shooting my own pilot TV show or movie,
All right.
and I come to you. What's your first response?
My first response is, well, why'd you wait so long? I'm glad you came. But the problem with almost anything you're trying to do, you really need an attorney in the beginning to help you out. The reason why is this. Let's say you finish that pilot, that television show, or something that uses music and other stuff, and then you come to me. What I then have to do is we then have to go back and make sure you had all your rights and all your clearances. So, for instance, there have been situations where people shot things, and they used a very well-known bar, but they didn't get permission. Well, now that bar can stop your performance and say, hey, until you give us $20,000, you can't use my bar. You get location agreements beforehand. Well, let's say you put people in it and you didn't get them to sign. People who voluntarily said, oh, I'll do it, once they think there's money involved, now they're saying, hey, you've got to pay me. Well, if you don't have an agreement, then they're right. You do have to pay them because you don't have an authorization to use their likeness. We then have to go around, if there's any music, you got to get it cleared. And trust me when I tell you this, if it's not cleared before you shoot it, once people think you're going to make money off of it, then all of a sudden they want money off of it. And so things that they would have just given you for free, now they want to charge you for. So I would always tell people, make sure that you check and see what you'll need before you shoot it, because after you shoot it, it costs a lot more.
Okay. So let's switch back over to the music side.
Okay.
What things have you seen change over the years in the music industry now?
Well, I've been in the music industry for a long time. A long time ago, I used to work with a whole bunch of the original labels. Things have changed so much now because there aren't standard record label deals anymore. Now there are 360 deals and amalgamations of deals, that come from that. With the digital realm, with the internet, so many people are doing their own thing now. Record label deals are very hard to come by now. It used to be that to make it as an artist, you had to have a record label deal. Nowadays, a lot of people are making it without record label deals because they can self-distribute. So that's one of the big things, is that record label deals are very hard to come by. It used to be hard a long time ago, but now nobody's really getting them. And if you get them, you're probably somebody who makes so much money by yourself and can get your product out there that they really want you. And so it's a totally different scheme now.
Okay. I know you spoke a minute ago about 360 deals. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, long time ago, a record label will sign you to a deal, and let's say it was a 60-40 deal, or let's say they just gave you a percentage of it, and they just got money for your album sales or for your CD sales. When the industry started changing and records were being sold less and less and record labels were making a lot less money, what they decided to do was have what they call a 360 deal. So long time ago, you used to get all of your publishing. If you had merchandise, you got that. When you performed, you got all of that money. Nowadays with a 360 deal, they get everything. So if you're on a TV show or on a feature film because you're an artist, they get a percentage of that. If you sell merchandise, t-shirts, hats, apps, ringtones, they get a part of that. So there's nothing that record labels now, when you sign a 360 degree deal, that they're not getting a part of. And that's how the industry changed with that.
Okay, okay. So go back earlier that you was talking about as far as on the music side, everything's going video. What are some pitfalls you're seeing now as far as people using the digital that they'll come to you, say, Attorney Hilliard, I just dropped this song or I just made this video and I put it online and YouTube flagged me.
Right. Well, YouTube has a part of their program that will catch music, and then it sees if the music is licensed and or other things. So you need to make sure that you have permission or you have the rights to the music. So a lot of times YouTube will flag you and then say you don't have the rights and you have to get it cleared. So you have to send them proof that you have it. Well, one of the big things, we take a step back. Before you put anything on YouTube, Spotify, or any of those different kinds of mechanisms to get your music or your film or your product out there, you need to make sure that you've got your stuff registered. One of the biggest things an entertainment attorney can do for you is to make sure that you have all of your registrations. Because if you don't have your music copyrighted, if you don't have different things done to protect it, then when somebody decides to take it or appropriate it as theirs, you don't have any proof that it's yours. And so once you have that proof and you get your music registered, when other people use your music on YouTube, when a product decides that they want to do a television commercial and use your music behind it, now they know who to contact because it's registered, and you'll get a certain amount of money for that usage.
Okay, okay. One of the things when people always mention entertainment lawyer, people think you're also that person's agent. Is that true sometimes or not true?
Well, there are entertainment attorneys who are agents and managers, and you end up becoming that because you handle so much of people's business. Like I told you before, I package deals. So in other words, if somebody came to me with a script and needed help on it, we can help them put the movie deal together. So we might deal with different people. So you may perceive me to be more than just that person's entertainment attorney. So there are people who act as their agent manager, but it's not necessarily that way. So in other words, you might have an entertainment attorney, you might have an agent, and you might have a manager. And in some situations, an entertainment attorney will take the effect of your agent or your manager.
Okay. One of the clients you said you was dealing with now is a client that specifically rolling out an app.
Yes.
So your company handles internet apps, things like that.
Exactly. And with an app release, there's not really as much that needs to be done, but you still want to make sure you have your protections. There's a process now. You're going to go through a company, and sometimes you're just, as an attorney, you're just looking over agreements. You're just making sure that everything is what the person who hires you thinks it is. So many times, a contract, whether it's 1 page, 2 pages, or 15 pages or more, people will tell you what the contract is. But what the words on the paper say is not what the contract represents. And that's one of the biggest things, especially I've had gospel artists come in here and they say, hey, this is not a 360 deal. This company, they really love me. They're good Christian folk, and we're going to do a pure 60-40 deal. I get 60% and they get 40%. And then you read the contract, and the contract says something totally different where, yeah, they get 60, well, yeah, you get 60%. But all the expenses come out of your part. But not only that, they don't have to decide up front what expenses they'll take. And then they can do administrative fees outside of the taxes and other things. And so that 60% may quickly become 5 or 10%.
Okay. Let's switch back over to business partnerships. Say, okay, I have a group of friends and we come up with this cool idea and we think about starting a business. What is the first piece of advice you would give us?
The absolute first piece of advice I would give anybody who is talking about doing any kind of venture with other people is a partnership agreement. We get people that come to our conference room. There'll be mother and daughter. There'll be brothers, 3-4 brothers. It'll be a brother and his nephews. And it'll be family members, roommates, other things. And I always tell them, you need a partnership agreement. And people will fight me on it. And they'll say, we don't need it because we're different. We're not like those other people. And I always tell people that the problem is everybody perceives things differently. So your perception may be that we're splitting this all equally. Well, their perception might be that yeah, we're splitting it equally, but I'm owed more because of this. And it sounds funny to say that, but it happens every day. Just to give you a quick example, I had a group that came in, and it was actually two people, and their agreement, I told them they needed a partnership agreement. And I said, listen, you need a partnership agreement. I had them sign something saying that they just refused the partnership agreement because it was two people. They were roommates. They had been together forever, and they were like, look, we're cool. We're not gonna have a problem. Our families know each other. Our wives know each other. And so they decided that they would make money off of this venture, and it'd be 50-50. The problem was both of them were footing the bill along the way. Well, one person kept receipts and kept things, and they expected that it would be 50-50 after they recouped their expenses. The other person had spent a little bit of money and just figured that that was just a part of doing business. They no longer even speak. The families are enemies, and all because they didn't have an agreement, because they just assumed that they were on the same page. And expenses, whether it's a record label, whether it's a partnership agreement, that gets people in trouble more than anything else, because people assume expenses a different way. Oh, well, you just spent that because you wanted to. And so I tell people a partnership agreement is the most important thing. I don't care who it is, if it's your mama, if it's your daddy. A partnership agreement is the best way to stay friends and to stay good family.
What advice would you give someone if they're just a sole founder? They're just, the president, founder of the business, but they don't have any partners.
Well, that's easy. I just tell people just to make sure you do the process. So incorporate. Whether it's an LLC, it's an Inc., whatever, make sure you actually do it. If you're going to do things right way, get your certifications. Make sure that you follow the rules. Usually it's cheaper to follow the rules and follow the established procedures beforehand than it is trying to fix it and go back and do it. If you think it's expensive in the beginning, imagine how expensive it is after you get in trouble and now you have to go back and fix it. So I tell people, even if they're solo, you still need to have your incorporation done the proper way and follow the rules.
Okay. What are your thoughts on forming a board of directors or advisory board?
Well, I think the advisory board is just something good because no matter how smart you are, how intelligent you are, you can always use more brain power. So that's just a personal decision on an advisory board. I think it can be good if you can find good, trustworthy people. A board of directors you have to have if you have certain kinds of organizations. A 501c3 nonprofit, you have to have a board of directors. If you're an Inc., you're supposed to have one. So that's one of those kind of things that you just need an attorney to advise you on. And so that's a personal decision on a lot of that.
Okay. One thing I noticed above in your office is a poster with your face on it. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Well, in a previous incarnation or in part of my life, I'm a union actor. I used to make my living from acting. So I'm a member of the Screen Actors Guild and American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, so this after SAG. And that's one of the reasons why entertainment law is so near and dear to me, because I myself am a performer. Now, later on, I began to produce and direct. So I produce and direct film, television shows, PSAs, and things like that. But also, I used to be an actor. Now, I don't do as much acting anymore, but you can see from that, which I keep up as a reminder of the struggle that we all go through as an artist. And so when people come to me as an entertainment attorney, I sit on this side now, but I used to sit on the other side. So I understand the creativeness that goes into doing their projects and how personal it is. And as an artist or an entertainer, I try to express that, listen, I understand the emotion with which you are creating the project. But if you don't step back and do the business part, you can lose all your...
Okay, well, let me ask you one other question just came to thought is, I see commercials for a particular law firm that you can get your LLC done online or how I could say, or internet or outside. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that and, advantages, of course, of using a person face-to-face?
Well, here's the thing, and this is what I tell people all the time. A lot of the stuff that attorneys do, you can get done yourself. I liken it to this. You can go on the internet. You can download things that say contract. You can go through and do your own copyrights. You can do your own LLC. There are lots of programs that tell you that, and that's fine. If you can do that and if you're capable. In other words, I myself can go to my bathroom, I can unscrew my sink, I can try to change a pipe, I can put it back, I can caulk it and do that stuff, but am I a plumber? You know, I can grab a bucket of paint and I can grab a paintbrush and I can attempt to paint, because those are things I can go out and buy that stuff and do. But sometimes if your skill level is not at the way to protect your business, so in other words, I'm not going to get out on, you know, my address is 3rd Avenue North, 1614 3rd Avenue North. I'm not about to go out and try to paint my building, because even though I can do it, is it right for me to do it? So I tell people, if your product, if your service, if your lifestyle is important enough for you to invest in, then do it. If you just want to see how cheaply you can get it done, you can cheaply get yourself in a whole bunch of trouble. Now, I'm not saying that for everything. Some things you can do, but some things you need to leave to professionals, people who have the experience. And also, one of the biggest things that makes a difference with certain types of attorneys, especially entertainment attorneys, is that they can follow your career. They can follow you so they know what you've done. They know what you've set up. If you do it yourself, you kind of, I did my incorporation this way, I did this way, but you don't have it in a manner with which when you want to move to the next level, somebody can advise you on the proper way of doing it. And then the thing about it is, if you grab a contract, you might grab a contract that's really, really, really good in New York, but it's not good in California. You might grab a contract that's perfect in Georgia, but it doesn't work in Alabama, because there are little minute differences. So when you see boilerplate, you don't really know what boilerplate means. And so I just tell people, you know, it's your business, it's your life, it's how you plan on, I guess, affording and paying for your career and your family. Who you want to trust that to?
Okay. Any final thoughts?
Just that I think that a lot of times we get so concerned with how much things are going to cost that we cut corners in the beginning. But all of this stuff, especially with an entertainment or career of any type, it's about your infrastructure, how you layer things in, whether you have the contracts. I mentioned before that a lot of times we get models coming in, and these models have signed contracts because somebody told them it's a great contract. And it seemed like the contract was just a year or just 2 years, but there's actually no way for the model to get out. And the modeling agency's not doing anything. But now they want to move on, and because they didn't get somebody to look over the contract first, they can't get out of that contract. And this agency's not doing anything for them. The same thing happens with management contracts, whether it's a rapper or a dancer. People just sign things because we want our career to move forward. Like I told you, I've been there as an artist, and we want our career to move forward. And if we don't have somebody that's objective, that can look at it and kind of guide us, then we get ourselves into a lot of trouble. So my thoughts are, at least go for a consult with an entertainment attorney if that's what you need and that's what you do. And really, no matter what field it is, go through a consult and at least see what they're suggesting and see what your thoughts are, because why build it on a house of cards that can't stand?
Okay. So if someone wants to get in contact with your law firm, what's phone number, address, website, social media?
Okay, first, we are the Hunt Hilliard Law Firm, and we're on Facebook. Our website is www.hunthilliardlaw.com. You can reach me at earl@hunthilliardlaw.com. I'm on Twitter @ehilliardjr. So those are all things. We're at 1614 3rd Avenue North. We're right downtown. You can easily find us, the only building with white columns on the street. Just contact us. You can do an internet search and you'll find us. We'd love to help you.
All right. Thanks again, Mr. Hill. Have a great day.
Thank you.